Hello, I am live. You know those ideas that those ideas that aren't fully formed but keep nudging you? They pop in your thoughts, show up in conversations, and you start noticing more and more around the topic. Your antennas are up and you're listening. What they are is they're invitations to explore. I've learned over time to give these ideas space to grow and not fall into the do it now trap. So one of the first questions I ask myself is this a should or is this a want? So hi, I am Heather Cameron. I am a business strategist who focuses on helping primarily women business owners who want to build intentional, profitable businesses without the hustle culture or trend chasing. And so what I really want to talk about today is exactly that. When you get an idea that pops into your head, what do you do about it? The ones that come up, and I have one going on right now that started late December and is there. It's nudging me. And sometimes they are brilliant ideas. And sometimes they're not so brilliant. We all have them of, maybe you could do this in your business. Maybe you could go this direction. And what I want to talk about is how to evaluate those ideas in a way that's simple and easy, but really effective. And I do this a lot with clients when an idea pops in. And the most important question is this a want or is this a should? So that's the first question. I call it my should busters. So when you ask the question, this idea comes up or this desire to kind of go down a particular direction, when that comes up, is it a should or is it a want? And is it a should from someone else's perspective because you see somebody out there, you're following somebody, or you've gotten an email in your email box from someone, and it just sounds like this great idea. You should be doing this. And that's someone else's should. But more importantly, we have a ton of shoulds that we give ourselves. And I'm going to give a couple examples of the shoulds. So we want to know, first of all, is it a should or is it a want, right? And then most importantly, if it's a should, are we shooting ourselves to death? Are we doing this because somebody says we should do it, and really we don't want to do it? It doesn't fit our business model. Those are the ideas you just want to let go of and say, okay, I gave you some mind space, I gave you some time, but it's not for me. I don't need to do this in my business. So those shoulds, if it doesn't have a want to it, we need to just kind of put the shoulds aside and say, okay, I don't want to be doing that. And examples for that most oftenly come up with my clients is when it comes to social media. Whether it's a social media platform that's just not you and you're not interested in it, whether it is a method of posting on social media, whether it's a frequency, it's one of the easiest examples to explain. Like, you should be on Instagram. That's a big one. Or you should be on LinkedIn. Your business would be a really good fit to LinkedIn. I get that shit. So I get this shit a lot that I should be on LinkedIn. And in all honesty, there may be some correctness to that, but I don't want to be on LinkedIn. It just doesn't suit me for various amounts of reasons. At any time I think about putting it in or playing with it in my business, I feel a lot of resistance. And so number one, I need to figure that out so it moves from a should to a want, or take it completely off the table, which it's been off the table for a number of years. Will it come on the table at one point in time? Probably. But that's okay when it moves from a should to a want. Another one I deal a lot with clients is you should be doing videos. You should be doing lives, right? And if it's not your way of communicating and you're not comfortable and you're always awkward, you're going to be unsuccessful. So I always work with people to say, what is the way that you want to communicate? How do you want to be out there? And then how can we adapt that to social media? So recognize the shoulds. Now recognize the shoulds we're doing to ourselves. I had a conversation with a client recently about websites, right? We should have a website. We need to have a website. We feel it's like it's a should that we need to do. And through our conversations, yes, it's something that she wants to do. It's moved from a should to a want. But then the next part of it comes into probably one of the more important questions that you can ask yourself, which is, if this is a should, if this is a want, if you've moved it from should to want and you've decided, okay, I'm not going to do it. Another should that I want to address is there's a lot of marketing techniques that are what we should be doing, but they may not actually fit our marketing model. So if you listen to my video on restaurant lenses on how to evaluate what type of business you want to be having, if somebody's giving you a strategy that's for that 5-star business and you're running a business that's much more of a nice, comfortable diner, that 5-star strategy might be perfect and it's a should for people who are in that business, but it's not a fit to yours. So you want to eliminate those ones as well. And the next question, though, once you've decided something's a want. So I have this idea that's nudging me personally, and it's been nudging me since December. And I really do think it's a want. It's not a should. There's a little bit of a should in there because it's a marketing trend right now. So there's a tiny bit of a should, but it's not really aiming at the should that's nudging me. It is moving to a want because I think I can do it. I think I can do it very differently than anybody else is doing it out there. And I think I can make an impact for my clients. So all of the right things are in line for me. But the next question that you need to ask yourself is it now or is it later? And if it's now, what is the cost of it? What has to move to give you room to actually work on this? What are you giving up to be able to do that? And so an example of one of my clients who really wants to create an impactful website. And so the question is, it's a want, but is it now or is it later? And going through what's her highest priority right now and what she's working on and what's going to make the biggest impact in her business, we came to the conclusion that it's not a now. It's not what's going to move her business forward and reach the objectives that she wants. Yes, it's a good thing to have. And yes, it's something that she needs to work on, but it's not a now. And so we've parked that until the second quarter. We've parked that. So it's no longer taking up energy and space. And if you are an idea generator, which a lot of us can be, I see that. That would be really funky. What could I do differently? Having that, is it a want or is it a need? And then is it a now or later, helps you free up brain space. Because if something becomes a now, it means that you have to give up something, whether you're giving up something you're working on, whether you're giving up sleep and you're working crazy long hours. You have to give up something to bring something into the now. And when you have that very basic 3 questions, it can really help you. Is it a want or a should? If it's a want, is it a now or later? If it's a now, what has to change? What do I have to move in my business to fit it in now? And those 3 questions alone can help you filter out all of the shoulds that come at you, whether it's someone else's should, whether it's your should, and in fact, all of the ideas that come to you, whether it's your idea, someone else's should, your own should, or just as something that's actually really brilliant and appropriate to your business. You need to have that evaluation. And those 3 questions will really be powerful to help you evaluate it and make a decision on what you want to do. What you want to do is once that idea becomes, and you need to grow it, there's some other questions that you can ask yourself, even in the should and want phase of how does it fit in my business? So I have this myself personally, I have this really good idea that I'm working on, and I just submitted it to a summit about 10 minutes ago. And working it out, I'm part of doing this topic at a summit and part of putting it out in an email series, which if you're on my email list, you'll see coming up, is to gauge, is it what my clients really need? So one question is, how does it fit in my business? So that's also what I'm working on. It's not going to get rid of my core business. That's not changing, but it adds a lot of value to my clients, and it adds a lot of value, and it's a great entrance point for somebody to come into my world. So it's a great first sell. It adds a lot of value. It's very time appropriate right now. It's what's going on, what people are talking about. And then the next question is, what would it actually look like? So whether this is, updating your website or bringing in a new offer into your program or doing something on social media, what does that actually look like? So updating your website, what does it look like? So how do you want to update your website, and what does it look like to do it? What resources do you need? How are you going to put it in place? And then secondly, if you're thinking of a new offer, or if you're thinking about talking about something differently, what does that look like? So in my case, just submitted to a summit. So that's the first part of it. I'm testing out the idea. It's something that I am committed into. I know how it would fit in. And then the next part is, what would be the first freebie in my funnel? What would make sense to match the topic, which could be used on podcasts and summits? What's the freebie? And then what's the actual offer? Right. And so working out some of that, what would it actually look like? Because it could look like many different things for me. And then that question, keep reinforcing the now or later, because as you develop an idea, the now or later can move, right? It could be something that says, okay, it's later, but it's a lot bigger than I thought. So maybe it's over several months, or maybe it's not as big as I thought. And maybe I can bring it in so that now or later thing can ebb and flow a bit. But always think about, no matter whether it's now or later, what could shift in your business. But start developing the idea, but most importantly, don't build it till you prove it. And that's the other part of nudging. So you've got this great idea that's come in, particularly when you're looking at an offer or new direction. You've got this great idea comes in, your antennas go up. So you're seeing what other people are doing in this space. When it's an idea, even if it's your website, you're going to go look at what other people are doing, do a little bit of research and research your idea, do a proof of concept, build up, kind of make what it looks like, do a little bit of research. But if it's a new offer, an idea, don't build the offer completely. And this is something I do with all my clients. It often makes them nervous. They come to me with, this is what I want to do, and I want to build up my course, and I need to know what platform it is, and I need to put it on it. And I'm like, whoa, stop. Right? You need to have a vision. You need to have a layer of detail, and then you need to prove the concept. And the best way to prove the concept is to start selling it, right? And know how you're going to build it, how you're going to bring people in. We think we have to have this perfect thing on this perfect platform, perfectly built. And that is not what we need. Yes, eventually, as we prove our concept, we're going to do that. But I have seen this happen way too much. I've been around for a very long time. And I've seen this happen where people build these perfect courses. They invest in the perfect platform. They build the perfect course. They're going to launch it. It's going to be great passive income. And what happens is nobody buys it. And because they didn't test their concept. So you can have the perfect course and the perfect thing, but if you don't have it tested, then it can be non-successful. And I've seen the exact opposite, where someone focuses on the perfect marketing message, the perfect promise. They deal with the misconceptions and things that come up, and people that, reasons, objections, and misconceptions. Sorry. They deal with the objections and misconceptions. They have an outline for their program. They launch it, and they run it in really fundamental, like with an email list, maybe with a Facebook group, something very simple, and they run it that way. They prove their concept. They build their content as they are running it, and then they turn it into a program, and they have amazing success because they got the messaging dialed in, and they proved it, and they tweaked it as they put it out there to see how people reacted to it, and then they sold it. And so going back to the topic of when something's nudging you, when an idea pops up, and let's face it, many of us as entrepreneurs, that's what we're in this game for. We came to this because we have ideas that are popping up. Some of us are just idea generators. And a client asked me, well, what do I do with all those ideas? And I'm like, I actually haven't used it in a while, an idea box, like whatever works for you. Throw them in a document, put them somewhere, and then give them that now. How much more does this idea require? Is it now or later? Give them that filter to go through so that you're focusing, and don't dismiss them. That's why having an idea box, or having a document, or having however it makes sense, a list, whatever makes sense for you to keep it, having that repository of ideas and giving them a place and say, okay, this is later, and I'm going to come back and review it. I'm going to let it kind of percolate in the back of my mind, and I'm going to come back and review it. If it's now, then it's going to require you to give it more energy, obviously, and understand why it might have to shift. And then build on that idea and really grow that idea. So those 3 most powerful questions, I call it my should buster. I wrote this should buster, I don't know, 10 years ago, at least 10 years ago, because it's still there. Is it a should or is it a want? The most important question. And whose should is it? Is it a should coming from you, or is it a should coming from someone else? So that's the first question. If you have a new idea or something that's nudging you or niggling you in the background, is it a should? Is it a want? First question. Question number 2, if it's a want, if it's a should, bye, go away. I don't need to be shitting myself to death. Is it a want? If it's a want, the next question is it now or is it later? And give it a later time frame if it's later. And if it's now, the third question is, what has to shift in my business to let it fit in? What has to shift in my time to let it fit in? And is that the right shift? If it's not, it's going to become a later anyways. But if it's not, then you start to build, well, what do I need to do? How do I make this idea come to life? But those first 3 questions it's a gift to you. It's a gift to you to be able to filter through your ideas and be able to understand how you're going to place them and what you're going to do them. So if you have an idea you'd like to take further and you'd like some help, reach out, let me know. And if you'd also like to have some support at the beginning of each week, come and join the Bistro Bite. The link is in the comments, sorry, in the description. And the Bistro Bite is for women entrepreneurs who just want to kick off their week with a little bit of community, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of my brain on your business, and a focus of setting your intention for the week so that you really know what you're going to be doing. It's just that moment. It happens every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. And if you'd like to come and join us, please do. And thank you so much. Leave a comment if you're watching the replay. Like us, let us know. And thank you. And we will be back for more next week. Thanks. Bye.